Good morning. This is Matthew Pike with the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to our second webinar on understanding how to secure the bag, part 2, to make sure that our businesses are together. We're going to give a few moments for everyone to join in on us. So we'll get started in about 3 to 4 minutes. All right. Thank you.
I sent Lynn the dial-in information. She should have had it on the invite when she registered, but just in case. Let's see.
All right, you're live, Leo. All of our participants can hear you. Just give us a moment and give me a call if you have anything, but feel free to mute your mic at the moment.
You're muted. You're muted, you're muted, you're muted.
All right, thank you very much for that. All right, so as you can see, this is a new thing for many of us right now. We are going live on Facebook, and we want to make sure everyone is engaged and understand what is happening. Thank you very much for joining us again. This is our second webinar as a Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce in regards to securing a bag with our businesses. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our president, Mr. Eric Knowles, to introduce this webinar, presenters, and what we're doing today. But before that, really quickly, please make sure for those that are joining on Zoom, if you would like to, if you have any questions, after our presenters, there will be a time for people to ask questions. So make sure that you put those questions in the Q&A box in there. You can do it through chat, but we prefer to do the Q&A box. And if you want to speak, we may be able to have that at the end. You'll have to use the raise your hand function. So with those housekeeping rules together, keep the mics muted until your time to speak. But with that said, Mr. Knowles, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everyone. As Matt mentioned, we are basically going down new roads, new rivers as we traverse this COVID-19, and obviously having all these Zoom meetings and different ways of connecting now. We want to make sure that we are connecting with the chamber membership and providing information that is pertinent and that will help you to navigate these times. One thing that I've had conversations with both my good friend Teri Williams, who's the president and the owner of OneUnited Bank, and my good friend Leo Toka over at Vice President, Senior Development Officer over at Wells Fargo, and talking about mortgages. And I know a lot of you have heard, you know, different scenarios on how to deal with your mortgage and reaching out to your banks in terms of getting some type of relief if you're not working, if you're not getting a paycheck. And then we hear a lot of things that banks are going to, may give you relief for 2 or 3 months, and then at the end of those 3 months, you're going to have to make that payment. So I wanted to get a couple experts in here to talk about that so that they can give you from their perspective, their particular entities, OneUnited Bank and from Wells Fargo. So I would like to, at this time, and again, before I go to Teri and to Rulon, Washington, who's in charge of mortgage outreach, he's a mortgage outreach leader over at Wells Fargo. I want to thank my friend Leo Toka also for bringing this together and bringing his folks together so that we can be on this Zoom meeting this morning. So without further ado, I'm going to step aside and invite Teri to come in to introduce herself more and talk about, from OneUnited's perspective, the mortgage, not crisis, but what you should be doing at this particular time.
Thank you, Eric, and hello to everyone out there. Thank you, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, for this opportunity to really speak to all of you about what's going on at this time in terms of the economy, in terms of the mortgage market, and maybe some things for you to think about. First of all, I just want to say that these are very difficult times for everyone, not through any fault of our own. I think that's very important, that we're all in this together as a nation, as a community, and we are having to come up with, what I would say, innovative ways to address this pandemic. This is something that has never happened before in our history. So if you find yourself in need, the key is to seek help and to not be embarrassed about looking for that help, not to be embarrassed about asking for help, and more importantly, to be aggressive about seeking help. So I would say that's the number one thing, is that it really is important to be aggressive and to ask for help and look for all the opportunities to get help. I also, before we get to the mortgage market, we actually did put on our website 5 tips to get through this COVID-19 economy. They range from everything to, if you have a job, to stay in your job. I know that sounds like a basic thing, but it is important for those of us that are working to, and businesses that are in essential businesses that have employees, to basically continue your operation as best you can. But if you find yourself either not in a job because you were furloughed, or if your business has died down because of this economy, there are a tremendous amount of government programs to help you through this, whether that's unemployment insurance, or I know something we're going to talk about later, this payroll protection program, but there's a whole lot of Paycheck, protection program, but there are a whole lot of government services that are available to you, and that you should seek all of them that could be helpful. We also, again, we're going to get to the mortgage market, but we also recommend people look at essential businesses for jobs if you are looking for a job, or if you're, again, if your employees are looking for something to do while they are furloughed from your business, to look at essential businesses. As an example, OneUnited Bank, banks are essential. I am at work. In fact, all of us are at work here at OneUnited Bank, and we're actually hiring. So look at essential businesses as opportunities for employment. And then also look at online businesses as not only opportunities for employment, but opportunities to get information. This is a great example. I mean, this is my first Zoom meeting with the Chamber. And it's really important for us to use this technology to get the word out to our community. Moving to the mortgage market, our focus at OneUnited Bank is to help our community stay in their homes, whether that's rental properties or home ownership properties or investment properties. Our goal is really to help our community stay in their home, and really that starts with you reaching out to us or to your bank or your lender, and letting your lender know where things stand. You know, whether or not your business, again, has experienced a decline in activity, or whether or not you individually have been furloughed or laid off, but to let your lender know sort of what your current, and your creditors, in fact, not just your lenders, but your creditors know where things are with you. And the reason for that is because we are here to help. We are here to figure out what we can do to, again, help you and our community get through this. There are a lot of loan deferment and modification programs available, but let me also be, sort of honest and transparent. These are deferment programs or loan modification programs. There are no waivers, that there are no, regardless of what you might hear in the news, banks are not just waiving mortgage payments. Even landlords, for the most part, are not waiving rents. There are deferment programs that do require you to be very careful about what you sign up for, because a lot of those programs will have you maybe not pay during this time, which is very important in order for you to take care of essential services that you need, like food and things that you need to take care of your family. But the deferment results in you making payments to catch up, so to speak, within a 12-month period. So it is important that again, I hate to say this, but regardless of what you hear on the news or what you might hear in terms of rumors, to recognize that these are wonderful opportunities to avoid making payments today, but they are deferment programs, and you just have to be careful for what you sign up for. What I'll also communicate to those of you that may be looking to buy right now, whether that's commercial real estate or investment property or just buying a home. We're not financial advisors. We can't advise you on how you should manage your money. But what I will say personally is I do think that down the road, there are going to be opportunities to acquire real estate at more affordable prices than we have seen in the past year or so. And we're already experiencing somewhat of a correction in the market. But I guess what I would say is try to wait, continue to look to see what's available. But we say to be very patient and not to jump into anything at this time, because there will be corrections as there will be more sellers than buyers, and we will start to see maybe some of that gentrification that's been happening in our community start to slow down as some of those cash buyers leave the market. So as I said, we do, and I can share the list of tips that we have on our website to get through this economic time. And I'm here to answer any questions. What's great is that I am in Miami at the moment. So if anyone wants to reach out to me individually or our team, we're here to help.
Teri, thank you so much. One of the things that you did say, it was important. You and I spoke the other day. It is keep your job.
Yeah.
A lot of people are concerned, going to work and being amongst other people, but also obviously protecting yourself, wearing masks, wearing gloves, washing your hands, etc. But don't just, run away from your job.
Right.
But the other thing, and then I'm going to bring in Rulon in a moment. But the other thing, I was speaking to Congresswoman Wilson over the weekend, and one of the things that she was saying that a lot of these small businesses, our mom and pops, I don't know if you saw any of the articles over the weekends where a lot of businesses obviously are going to go out of business because people aren't shopping. And so one of the suggestions that she said is, and a lot of times these small businesses are family owned. You have a husband and a wife working and maybe even the children, but it may be time right now for someone, 2 or 3 people, if it's a situation like that, for them to go out and get a job to help sustain the fact that they're keeping their business. They're not losing business, but they're going out and bringing in the money that they need to sustain their business. So that was one thing. And then the other thing about jobs, and also on Congresswoman Wilson's website, she has a listing of jobs as well. And also Career Source South Florida with Rick Beasley, there every day he puts out jobs that are available. So it's very important that you do adhere to that. Right now, I'd like to bring in Rulon, Washington. And again, thank you, Teri, and we look forward to continuing this conversation this morning. But I'd like to bring in Rulon, Washington, Mortgage Outreach Leader at Wells Fargo.
All right, thanks, Eric. So good morning, everyone. I hope each of you are in good health and staying safe. So before I start, I'd like to send a special thanks to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce for putting this together. Really appreciate the opportunity. In today's climate, it's extremely important that we share as many resources as possible because we're all being affected by this pandemic in some way. So as Eric mentioned, I serve as the East Region Market Leader for Mortgage Outreach within Wells Fargo. It's a division within Wells Fargo's Housing Affordability Philanthropy Group. And my role really focuses on outreach strategies for the mortgage division, housing risk mitigation, and affordable housing philanthropy. And so unfortunately, we're facing a situation that has created some unique disruptions for everybody. And as a financial institution, we want to respond in real time. Knowing the situation with COVID-19 is extremely fluid and ever-changing, we have to be able to pivot as well too. So as a company, Wells Fargo is working on a daily basis to ensure we are putting measures in place to support the needs of all of our customers impacted by that COVID-19 pandemic. So due to the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic, we're providing assistance to customers, including fee waivers, payment deferrals, and other products just like your credit cards, auto loans, and home lending. The home lending also includes mortgage and equity lines of credit, right? So the home lending aspect of this becomes extremely complicated for us as a company because we service over 8 million mortgages across the country, which is a lot, right? With just over about 500,000 mortgage customers here in the state of Florida. So if you just think about the level of impact that we have as a company and the level of exposure for being a large scale lender and servicer, it's extremely complicated and things are really tough right now. So even though times are tough, we encourage customers to continue making their payments. As Teri mentioned, you know, it's important for you to stick with what's going to help you get over this hurdle. But we know things are tough and things are changing. So with that being said, we are granting an immediate 3-month suspension for mortgage payments for any Wells Fargo home lending mortgage or home equity customer who requests assistance. So I'll say that again, requesting assistance is key, but we are granting an immediate 3-month payment suspension for any Wells Fargo home lending mortgage or home equity customer. So for customers who contact us to take advantage of the payment suspension, we won't report past due status to your credit or charge any late fees at this time, just like Teri mentioned as well. But this is pivotal right here. There's been a lot of concern in the industry about how customers can contact their financial institution for help, from extremely long wait times to difficulty speaking with a live person. So as a company, we're facing that strain too. So at the moment, our customer service is experiencing significant call volume with the number of close to 5,000 to 6,000 calls an hour just this past week, and we expect that number to increase. And we're currently, you know, taking information from over 600,000 mortgage customers who have already reached out directly to us for assistance. So just think about the number, just think about the stress on a company trying to make sure that they're able to help their customers. So in effort for us to help with the call volume, we're even leveraging internally 700 team members from different lines of business to just help with the capacity. So during this pandemic, it's truly all hands on deck for us. Homeowners who reach out to us by telephone will get an immediate verbal confirmation of their 3-month payment suspension. But as I mentioned, with the call volume, sometimes it's difficult to get through. But if somebody is experiencing trouble getting through the phone line, we encourage them to use technology. And right now, technology is key. Right? So our Wells Fargo website and also our mobile banking app is essential right now. So customers using the website can log in, select their mortgage account, follow the easy steps to submit requests for payment relief, and receive immediate confirmation. They also get a physical letter in the mail within 7 to 10 business days of that initial conversation. The online banking app is even easier than that. So a customer would just need to send a secure request through the online banking message center. And it's literally a radio button that says, do you need help or were you affected by COVID-19? Customer selects that button, they'll receive a receipt of acknowledgement within 3 to 5 business days and also another physical letter. So the biggest point I want to make sure that we drive home is please contact us. Whether it's phone, website, mobile app, please contact us. We need to acknowledge that you need the assistance. Also, please encourage folks to visit the wellsfargo.com website. We have a dedicated link on our website for the COVID-19 response that shares resources from assisting with multiple services, mortgage, small business, and also everyday banking. So another pride point for us is that our COVID-19 response website also has informative FAQs for those that may have questions about their mortgage payment suspension, the Small Business Administration Payroll Protection Program as well, and also branch availability. So we want to try to make sure that this website is a one-stop shop for all of our customers, even folks that aren't our customers that just want to get a broad overview of what's going on, whether it's in mortgage or whether it's through the SBA, right? So really tapping into that. So now once the 3 months is over and someone does request a 3-month payment suspension, Wells Fargo has a number of potential options available for the customers that request this assistance. So depending on the loan investor and other factors, because that is a big thing, right? Some financial institutions originate their own mortgages and also they service those mortgages too. Some financial institutions may originate a mortgage and then sell that mortgage off and someone else is the servicer, right? But for us, we do both. So we originate mortgages and we also service our own portfolio. But on top of that, we service the GSE loans, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, also FHA, VA, USDA, right? So the big part about that is every investor is a bit different. And we have a really broad investor mix. Usually from the industry perspective, over 50% of the loans that mortgage servicers have are usually federally backed loans. So you'll see a lot of the FHA, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. So some of the options, after 3-month payment suspension could include continuation of the payment suspension, moving the missed payment to the end of the loan, or a modification, because that's one thing that folks aren't talking about, is that if there's a long-term financial change, that needs to also mimic what the payment's going to be. So that may impact their ability to keep up with their monthly payments in the future. Our wellsfargo.com website also breaks down what will happen after that 3-month payment suspension. So I want to reference that website again, because it's a vast amount of information on that website. As I mentioned, as a servicer, we have a good portfolio mix of loans. We have our own loans that we back, Freddie, Fannie, USDA, VA. So the federal guidance for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, FHA and VA are all available on their websites. And as a servicer, we'll be adhering to those guidelines when it comes down to options for customers as well. So what you may see on some of those websites is there's a longer term of relief. Financial institutions will adhere to those as well, because we are servicing the mortgage for them. So to truly understand the customer situation, it's important that we talk to the homeowner directly to understand their circumstances and identify the best way to help them going forward. As Teri mentioned earlier, suspended payments don't just go away. So understanding your options are extremely key. You got to understand that financial institutions who do service mortgages, they're still on the hook for these mortgage payments every month, not including your taxes and insurance that you would have to pay. Those payments just don't go away. There has to be some type of a repayment, whether that is forbearing the amount back to the end of the loan, whether that's modifying the loan, whether that's extending how long you're going to have a suspended payment, and then helping with repaying that balance back. But those payments just don't go away, right? So in addition to all of the payment suspension, as Wells Fargo, we're also temporarily stopping all foreclosure-related activity and evictions on occupied properties for mortgage and home equity customers. So I want to stress this point one more time. Using technology, leveraging websites is really important during this time, whether it's Wells Fargo, whatever bank it may be, right? Understanding what options are out there, educate yourself, educate your people in your community, just to make sure that they understand what the options are. Right now, we're in a different place than where we were back in 2010, right? A different type of housing crisis now. Back in 2010, financial institutions were reacting to issues, right, with mass delinquency. Now, we're trying to be proactive and give the right type of messaging out, because any financial institution that's participating in any type of temporary payment forbearance or payment suspensions, they won't know what will happen at the end of those 90 days or the end of those 180 days. So as a company, we're still waiting for that other shoe to drop, which becomes difficult for us. So the best approach for us is to be proactive, right? I hope this information was helpful. I plan to make sure we share some of these points I just covered with Eric and Matt, along with our website information once the webinar is complete. But folks, I just can't stress it enough. Please use the technology, visit the websites, because right now we're in the midst of a 90-day payment suspension. Things are so fluid right now with COVID-19, they can change daily. So please take advantage of the resources, reach out to your contacts, try to get as much information as possible to remain proactive, so that way you know exactly how to help yourself and your community.
Rulon, thank you so much. That was a lot of great information. I hope you all are taking this information down. The one thing that is important that both Teri and Rulon mentioned, that these suspensions are not being forgiven. They're giving you a break for 3 months and possibly with an extension, but at the end of that extension, somewhere along this process, it will have to be paid back, whether it's at the end of your mortgage or some type of arrangement that your bank makes. And obviously, we're talking with Wells Fargo and OneUnited Bank. And so obviously, you should go to your lender directly and reach out to them. It's important. As I said, phone lines are tied up. Millions of people are making calls right now trying to get some type of relief. So please adhere to that and use technology as was mentioned. Right now, I would like to bring in Lynn Pierre. Hopefully Lynn was able to join us. I know we were trying to connect with her earlier. Lynn, are you there?
Eric, currently right now, Lynn is not online, so we can go into the questions that we currently have. At the moment, I see Ms. Johnson has a question, and I believe it's either to Teri or Rulon. And basically, she's asking what gets reported to the credit bureaus from suspensions, extensions, or any other assistance received?
So I can take a crack at it first. So during the payment suspension, as long as the customer is acknowledging that they want to get some suspension assistance or some help, there's nothing that's going to be negatively reported to their credit, and no fees that will be assessed. Now, the one part that does throw a couple folks off is they still may get letters in the mail because it's an automated system that shows there may be an accrued amount, and it also will show that the next payment is due, right? But understanding that's an automated process, and it may be different for Teri, since we're a larger bank, those checks and balances, we're trying to make sure we minimize those to eliminate any confusion. But if you do acknowledge that you do need help, there is not going to be any missed payments reported to your credit, and there will not be any late fees. All of those stuff gets put on hold as long as you reach out to your financial institution to describe what your situation is. But as I mentioned, sometimes an automated process may disperse a letter, or online banking may show that you owe for that month. They're not strategically pushing payments forward as if you were getting a deferment on an auto loan. So a mortgage is a bit different, but just keep in mind, no negative reporting on your credit, and then also no fees that will be assessed.
Hi, this is Teri. That is true for OneUnited Bank as well, but it is important for you to speak directly with your lender to see if that's true for everyone or for your specific lender. There was at one point, what was stated on the news was that that was going to be part of the bill, that there would not be any negative reporting, and that actually was not included in the bill. Which means that each lender is basically doing its own thing. So I think it's important that you check with your lender to see what your lender will be reporting.
Great point, sir.
Okay, so I want to remind everyone to please put your questions in the Q&A box. That is the most efficient way in which we can address the questions. I do see a question from an anonymous attendee about how does the PPP work with your bank, and we actually have our next speaker coming up to address that. So Erica was able to pull in Lynn as a panelist. So if you want to introduce her, and she can unmute her mic and her video and jump on.
Hey, Lynn Pierre, thank you for being here. Lynn Pierre, and unfortunately, I don't have all of Lynn's information, so I can't introduce her properly in terms of her title and her role over at Wells Fargo, so we'll allow her to do that. Without further ado, I'm out of the way. Lynn, please come on and introduce yourself. And
Okay, good morning. I'm not sure if I can be heard. I have no indication. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So I've been having some technical challenges this morning. But again, thank you for hosting this and giving us an opportunity to really speak to the community in terms of what's transpiring. And so currently I serve as a regional branch manager for Wells Fargo in a LMI market. And so I've been receiving a lot of questions with regards to the Paycheck Protection Program. I was hoping to be able to share some screenshots, but I can walk through, and what I really wanted to do is just give an idea of what the process looks like and really encourage our small business owners to take advantage of this opportunity as quickly as possible because time is of the essence. And so right now, the questions that I'm getting, so at one point, we weren't able to accept any additional applications at Wells Fargo. And as many of you have already heard, the asset cap has been modified by the Federal Reserve. And as a result, Wells Fargo is now accepting applications as of April 8th. We are continuing to accept applications for the Paycheck Protection Program. The other piece with that was we were originally focusing on small businesses with fewer than 50 employees and nonprofits. And now that modification is now allowing us to align with the Small Business Administration's guidelines for the Paycheck Protection Program. I do have some basic information. So the first thing that you would want to do is express interest as soon as possible. And so the question that I often get from people are, do I need to have everything in place before I express interest? the interest can only you do not have to have everything in place prior to expressing interest. Just go ahead and do that because we're processing those applications on a first come, first served basis. And in order to, so you want to get in that queue as early as possible. Once you express interest, you'll receive an email confirmation. Then you'll receive an email with an invitation to apply. And so this invitation then allows you to go ahead and apply for the actual loan. So the first step, it's just basically asking for your contact information and your the name, business owner, and email and telephone number. Next step, you'll receive an invitation to apply. And that's when you're actually completing the application, which you'll submit on the system. And some of the things that you want to have on hand before completing that application include your payroll tax filing, payroll tax forms 941, form 1099 miscellaneous, and income and expense forms if you're a sole proprietorship. So again, we're encouraging everyone to apply as quickly as possible. The requirements through Wells Fargo is that you have an established relationship, and that is the relationship has to have been in place prior to February 15th of 2020. So we noticed that there are people coming in to establish business accounts, establish business relationships. So those business relationships and those businesses need to have been established prior to February 15th, 2020 in order to be eligible to apply. An application does not guarantee approval. And so again, the resources and the funds are limited, and Wells Fargo is not the only option that you have available to you. Please feel free. We encourage everyone to not only apply through the Wells Fargo portal, but go back to SBA and see what other options are available to you to really take advantage of those application options. So only one application will get approved. So you're able to go and apply through whatever other options are available to you. So we're encouraging everyone to do that. Let's see what else. So some of the main requirements. So whatever, if you're meeting the SBA eligibility requirements, you've been in business before February 15, 2020, you have employees who you paid salaries to, or you've processed payroll taxes for, or you're an independent contractor, and you've had a business checking account with Wells Fargo prior to February 15, 2020, and you are currently enrolled in Wells Fargo online banking or the CEO portal. Now, if you're not enrolled in the online banking or CEO portal, that's not a problem. You can go ahead and do this at this point. You just have to make sure that you have an established relationship with the bank. I will turn it over to Teri. Well, I'm sorry, not Teri, to Matthew or Eric, and see if we have any additional questions.
Thank you, Lynn. Actually, I don't see any other questions popping up right now. And you did answer one question I was going to ask you myself about 1099 workers, and you did. Do you want to expound on that? Actually, a couple of questions have popped up. I'm going to open that up. So do you want to expound on the 1099 again?
Okay, I am unmuted, it's just making sure. So if you are a 1099 employee, so you would have to file on your own, and that portal is now open now to accept those applications. So if the small business company has 1099, they cannot file on behalf of those 1099 employees. Those individuals will file on their own independently. I'm hearing
Matt, since I'm here, I'm gonna go through these questions. There's a question that says, is anyone aware of PayPal participation in the PPP program? Don't know if the question was asked. Is there a minimum amount of revenue required for eligibility? Is anyone familiar with PayPal participation?
I am not. This is Teri. I'm not.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's the first time I've heard about it. We'll do some research, and if we get the information, we'll share it on our website. The next question that I have regarding the SBA emergency loan, this is from Ephraim Lapshire. Once you apply online on the SBA page, what are the next steps? I applied 10 days ago and have not received any reply so far.
And so if and I'm not sure if an application or an interest, if they've expressed interest, that's step one. So they have to wait to receive an email an invitation to apply for the actual loan. Once you've submitted your application, we are processing those, unfortunately, on first come, first served basis. And there is no time frame specifically. We're working through them as quickly as we can, but just know that you are in the queue and you will continuously get updates periodically to let you know that we are continuing to review your application. Hopefully that answered the question.
I think you, and then from Apricot Furniture, I think you just answered that question. They had once shown an interest in what were the requirements. So I think you answered the question for them. An anonymous attendee, have you issued any fund through PPP? I'm not clear on that question. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
Yes, I think what they're currently asking right now is whether or not Wells Fargo has issued a loan through the PPP.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's something that some business owners and many of people are confused about of, is it actually happening? So Lynn, if you are able to, if you can address that, that'd be great.
Unfortunately, I don't have that specific information in terms of if funds have been deposited as of yet. I do know that since we reopened on the 8th, we are quickly working through the applications, collecting documentation. And so I would love if I can follow up and see if I can get some additional information back to you in terms of what's been the return or how many of those applications have already been processed at this point. So I don't have any specific response in terms of that yet.
This is Teri again. So I do want to talk about the program, the PPP, from the standpoint of our, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. You're muted.
Okay. Oh, okay, sorry. I do want to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program from a broader sense of our community. So OneUnited Bank has not historically been an SBA lender, but we do think that this is a great program, and we are actually trying to figure it out to see if there's some way that we can participate. So if we can figure that out, we will let your members know, Eric, because what we are finding is that a lot of the banks, and I want to applaud Wells Fargo and other institutions that are already offering the program, but they're typically offering them to their existing customers. And sometimes our businesses aren't existing customers of these large institutions. And so the concern is that, you know, our community, our businesses are going to get left out of this program. So it is something that is of concern to us as being the largest Black-owned bank in the country. How could we ensure that Black businesses get access to this program? And so that's why we're trying to figure this out. Let me say that it is not an easy program to figure out. It is a program that was put in place very quickly. And that's why I want to applaud Wells Fargo and other institutions that are up and running. It is not a typical SBA program. There is the ability for this quote loan to turn into a grant after 90 days. And if the grant is not approved, it then becomes a 2-year loan. Those are terms that are very different for a banking institution. We are typically not in the business of giving out grants as loans or loans as grants. So trying to figure that out is one of the challenges. However, it is a great program for businesses. And what I would say, again, we're trying to figure it out, but each of our businesses out there that are on this call, if you have a relationship with an institution, I saw someone talking about SunTrust, or, you know, in the case of Wells Fargo, please reach out. If you do have a business relationship, a business checking account, or SBA loan, or, you know, some type of relationship with a banker that is offering this program, definitely get in line, express that interest, because it is a great program. What I'll also say, similar to what I said about mortgages, is to be very, very careful about the terms. And what I mean by that is, in this case, the idea of the program is to protect the paycheck of your employees. So the idea is to provide you as a business with a loan for you to continue to pay your employees, your utilities, and your rent. If you do that, then the loan, quote, loan, becomes a grant, and therefore you don't have to pay it back. However, if you do not do that, it becomes a loan that can add to your burden as you are trying to recover from this economy. So just be very careful about when you apply for this program, whether you're an independent contractor or you're an employer that has employees that you are paying through some type of payroll service, just recognize the requirements of this program and abide by those requirements to ensure that it becomes a grant in 90 days as opposed to a loan. Let's see, I'm trying to think of any other cautions, I guess I would say. I guess those are the two. Definitely contact your bank. Get in line. They're even though the funds are limited, I do think that they will add additional funds. There's no guarantee, but I think they will add additional funds if they're needed. So definitely get in line with your banker. If you do not have a banking relationship, there are some banks that are offering it to non-customers. I'm sure that the Chamber can identify those institutions, maybe with the help of the Beacon Council. And then just be careful as you are thinking about this program, which is a great program, to abide by the rules.
Well, thank you, Teri. Great information and really important in terms of, as you said, that the PPP is being used to pay payroll. And the one thing that I do understand is that if you do get this loan, 75% of it does have to go to payroll in order for it to become a grant. You can use a portion of it for rent. You can use a portion for, I guess, your mortgage interest if you are in a building that you.
All right, it seems as though we have technical difficulties with Mr. Knowles at the moment. And when he gets back on and his computer unfreezes, we will start with the rest. But while we're waiting, Ms. Williams, there was a quick question that someone asked: is OneUnited a participant in the PPP?
We are not currently a participant. We are investigating how we can participate. We have not figured it out yet. I think everyone, well, if you don't know, we are actually a real estate secured lender. Our focus has been getting people into homes, first-time home buyers, as well as commercial real estate. So that has been our history forever. We have not done SBA. Well, we did SBA loans in the past, and I say this honestly, we lost our shirt on SBA loans and realized we didn't have the expertise to do them. However, this program is so beneficial to our communities that we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out.
All right, thank you. And we have quite a few questions for Wells Fargo. So I'm gonna try and start with the simplest one. First, there's a question on where exactly is the information for the PPP on the website. And then the second one that you can answer, Lynn or Rulon, is what if a business only have one employee? Does that business still qualify for the loan?
Sure. So with the first question, if you go to the wellsfargo.com website, there is an alert tab at the top of the screen. It's actually, I'm looking at it here. So it says alert here for you, updates on COVID-19 assistance. And then if you click on that particular link, it opens up a page where there's a letter from Charlie, our CEO, Charlie Scharf, and then you scroll down. So there are 3 options, and here's how we can help. So it has home lending, small business, and everyday banking. You would select small business. That would encourage you then to log into your online banking, and that's why that's a key piece of that. So once you log into your business online banking, you will be able to see at the top of the screen, there's a bar that says, if you're interested, start now. In the Paycheck Protection Program, you're able to log right into that, get access. If you could repeat that second question for me again, Matt.
All right, and feel free to share your screen. I think if you have it up, there's a function in Zoom where you can share it. For that, the other question was, did I already push it out? Hold up.
Oh, I believe it was
what if
about
the business
one
only
employee.
Have one employee? Yes.
Yes, as long as the payroll is being processed and you can provide the documentation in terms of what's been paid, yes, you can go ahead and participate with one employee. It's up to 500. Up to 500
right.
employees.
Another thing, do these loans have a interest rate fees, or are they forgivable loans?
The forgivable portion is in terms of the payroll, and I think Eric mentioned it early, so 75% of that needs to be attached to payroll and only 25% can be outside of the payroll piece. And it looks like Rulon just shared the screen here in terms of how to apply. And all of the questions, and this is on our West Fargo site, if you click on the link at the top where it says COVID-19, it takes you straight here with all of the, most of the questions that are being asked here today. So once we wrap up on this call, you can still, from the convenience of your home or office, go in and get those specific questions answered. Thank you, Rulon.
Awesome, thank you. So I have a few questions for the CARES Act and PPP Act from Ms. Johnson. First, under the CARES Act and the PPP loan, can a solo entrepreneur attorney that is compensated via a monthly draw be eligible to apply for the loan? What if the draw only is twice a year?
That's a very specific question. I don't have that specific answer, but what I would recommend at this point is to at least go in and express interest, because the next, when the email is sent for you to go ahead and apply, there's a question and answer section that'll let you know whether or not you're eligible for it. At a minimum, go in and start the application process, but I can't specifically answer that question.
Hey, if I may, this is Leo. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
You just turn on your, are you able to turn on your video?
You want to see me?
Gives a better experience for those that are viewing online, so they just don't see my face.
You know, this is my third Zoom meeting in the last 2 weeks. I've never did it before, and it's actually working pretty good. But to try to answer that question, the SBA has more details about the last question around the draw and how that might work, because there's qualification information that the SBA has specific. So if you think about it, any bank that's taking in the application really has to do it and meet the SBA guidelines as well. So it's not just the bank information. So a lot of information about how you qualify and what's acceptable, you can find those answers on the SBA website. And I believe there's a link on Wells Fargo that will take you to that website as well if you're in the Wells Fargo information site. So just want to share that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Leo. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Another question, and I guess this is for general. What institutions are offering PPP loans without banking relationships? If anyone have an answer for that question?
Matt, Leo again.
Yeah.
On the SBA site, you will find a link to a lot of that information as well. they have a listing and information that where you can go.
Okay. All right. Another question. What if there's no payroll for one employee? Can the business still apply for the loan?
I think that's still back to what Leo just shared. Those requirements are specifically through SBA. The Wells Fargo requirements are completely different. So you would have to go through the Wells Fargo website, I'm sorry, the SBA website directly that I'll answer that question.
Okay.
And while we're here, I'll try to pull some of that stuff up.
All right. So for those that are watching, please note that right now we have OneUnited Bank on the line that does questions for mortgages. And we have a team of people from Wells Fargo that can answer mortgage and PayPal protection programs specific to their banks. This is part of a series that we're doing so that we are bringing on various professionals. Last week, we brought on Althea Harris, that was the SBA representative. We will share that information about more opportunities if you meet with the chamber. So we're going to do our best, and that's what our people here online are doing, because this nature is changing quite a bit. So that's the nature of the conversation right now. I believe Leo can jump back on.
Thank you, Matt. I just want to clarify, it's for the Paycheck Protection Program. I think you might have said PayPal. It's for.
Oh.
I just want to clarify.
All these PPPs, and it's a lot.
Yeah,
So,
but you know, I just want to. Yeah, thank you so much. It's great being with you. Thank you.
all right.
Keep
So
going.
we have another question. Do lawyers who might own equity in their firm, whether designated as partners, members, or shareholders, count towards the program's head count limit? It's an interesting question. I don't know. Is anyone able to answer that?
I'm not the expert here, but I've been reading, and you know, things keep changing. But I would think that if you have people that you're paying, they're drawing money, they're on the books as somebody that gets paid. I think the SBA would count that, but you would have to go in and check in the website. And you know, there are lending opportunities outside of PPP, regular other types of loans that are available. So you might not get the grant portion of it, but I think anybody who's looking to finance, looking for loans, you can always look at other options for lending. So although the focus here is PPP, there's ways to also get financing that may be outside of that venue. And of course, you have to qualify and have all the criteria that you need.
All right. Here's a question specifically for Wells Fargo. On Wells Fargo website, there's someone said that they have sufficient interest and no longer take any more small business applications because of the $10 billion cap. Is that still the case?
No, that modification has taken place, and as of April 8th, we are open and accepting applications. That was originally the case. And then so the Federal Reserve lifted the cap, and so, or modified the cap rather, and then so we're now accepting applications. So they can go back in and express interest again.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I wanted to add one more piece to that. Sorry about that.
Go ahead,
Matt. And so we went live last Saturday with the PPP, and then the interest was so vast that we closed down the site on Sunday. So if someone looked at the site Sunday, they would see that message. And then we were able to circle back a few days later on this past Wednesday, and that's where the adjustment that Lynn is talking about happened, where we had a little bit more flexibility due to relief with the asset cap. So you would have saw a change there between that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and what you see today. So as of today, if you check the website today, that's the active, most updated information. But unfortunately, if you looked last Monday, you might have saw something a bit different. So just a little bit of clarity.
Thank you, Rulon. All right.
And if I may add, like Rulon alluded to, the demand is vast. The demand is great. It keeps changing by the minute, by the hour. You see on the different news medias, you know, the funds are really going fast. So when Eric reached out to me about, you know, doing this webinar, we rushed to get it done because our idea is we want to get the information to the members as quickly as possible so they can act as quickly as possible to get in that line and have the shot at getting the funds. If the Congress, if government runs out of money and they don't reallocate, like Teri also was alluding to, you know, you could be left out. So the idea here is to just put in your interest as quickly as possible. And again, there's a lot of different qualifications to it. Spend a little time on the SBA website, go onto our website or your banks and lenders website, and you know, just put in that initial interest in so you can be on the queue. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I don't think we actually properly introduced you, Leo. Leo is actually a vice president at Wells Fargo, with a senior community development officer. He's been a strong supporter of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce for many, many years. We're very thankful for him to be a part of this and have this conversation, and also bring on his team to speak with our members at the moment. So thank you very much, Leo, for being a part of this conversation.
Thank you.
There's another question from Ruben Roberts. Says that I read that there were changes made regarding the $10,000 loan portion. Now they're only giving an advance of $1,000 per employee. Do we have any current update on that advance?
I'm not familiar with what they're referring to. Do you mind repeating that?
So with the, I think it's the PPP or the emergency loan that's provided by the SBA, there was talk at the very beginning about if you submit an application, they were going to advance the first 10,000. And then recently, last week, there was an update basically saying that they were only going to give an advance on that loan of just 1,000 per employee immediately. Or they were approving that immediately. So from Wells Fargo, what does the advance look like at the moment?
That is actually not something I am familiar with, the advance piece. I don't know if you've heard anything about that, Leo or Rulon?
I have not. I have not. So I know there's a pipeline, and this program is still really new. I'm not sure what the media is sharing. I'm not sure what the source of information is. We could definitely look into that and get back to you, Matt and Eric, and share that with the members. I'm not familiar with it, so I apologize.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So right now I'm going through, and I think there's a question. I don't know if we can, because it's directed towards SBA. It says, once you apply online at SBA page, what are the next steps? So you want to be able to answer something based upon the SBA's page?
Hold on.
Are they referring to the Paycheck Protection Program? Because those are being run through financial institutions. So they would need to apply directly through the financial institutions and then see what those processes are. I don't know that they're applying for the Paycheck Protection Program through the SBA site itself. So I'm not sure I understand the question.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
you can.
Okay, so I have a flow chart that was shared with me previously, and once the application is completed, then there's a decision made. If you're approved, then you have to go ahead and accept the terms of the loan and sign the documents. And after you do that steps, which is step 5, then you receive the funds. So you do the application, you receive a decision. If approved, then you have to go in and accept the terms of the loan and sign the documents. And then after that, you receive the funds. I don't have a timeline stated from step to step how it works. But as we've been discussing here, the process, because of the volume, has been bogged down. So I know that can be frustrating. I see all the stuff going on in the media, and people want this now. They want it, they want it fast. And we're really trying at Wells Fargo to get this moving, and I know other banks as well are doing the same thing. So, but that's the way it would work, the process.
So I just got information that the advance is actually tied to the economic disaster injury loan, which is different from the Paycheck protection.
Okay.
I forgot what the last P is, or one of them, but I don't want to say
Program.
but the PPP. The PPP is run through banks, and that is what Wells Fargo has the ability to answer questions on. The economic disaster injury loan, that's SBA. So periodically, we're hoping as Miami-Dade Chamber to bring on more people from the SBA. Last week we had Althea Harris that can answer those questions. This is specifically for those that are have questions about mortgage and PayPal protection. So I'm seeing the questions in the Q&A box that's in different places, but Paycheck Protection Program, that's, you want to specifically ask that to the Wells Fargo or the banking institution that you're working with, so that they can give you the most up-to-date answer. And then also, we got to be patient, because everyone, this is something that is just coming out. There are updates happening on a daily basis, and the communication between the federal government and the banks and then chambers, it's a little delayed. So just be patient with us with regards to that. So right now, I am not, okay, I have one more question. Are the PPP loans considered secured or unsecured?
They're unsecured loans.
Okay, all right, so we got that. All right, and that is all the questions I see so far in regards to the Paycheck Protection Program and the Mortgage Protection Program. I don't see anything else. So there's some general questions. Go ahead, Teri.
Yeah, I just see that Eric is trying to get back in. I don't know if there's a way to get him back in.
All right. I don't see him logged on though. Yeah, I don't see him logged on.
I just saw a note. I didn't know.
Okay. Oh, he's on through his cell. Ah, okay. All right. Let me see if I can get him.
There he is. Unmute, Eric. Unmute.
Yeah, there I am.
There we go.
My internet on my computer is not working. Internet is working in the house, but it's not working on my computer. So it's just crazy.
It's a lot of demand. A lot of demand on the internet.
The one question that Ruben asked, I did hear that last week in reference to the $10,000, that advanced $10,000 once you fill out the application that you were supposed to receive within 3 days. And I did hear that that it was changed. I don't know how true it is, that it would be only $1,000 per employee. And again, I haven't gotten the answer, but we'll research that to find out in reference to that. The other thing in terms of information, I just want to remind people to go to bizhelp.gov BIZHELP.Miami. That's through the Beacon Council, and they have a lot of resources that they're providing through that as well. And then the other question, I know, Leo, you answered the question in terms of there are other loans out there. And there's the EDL, I believe, through the SBA that they can go direct and get loans. There are loans through the state of Florida, through the Department of Economic Opportunity as well. And also, we at the Chamber have a microloan program that we loan up to $25,000. We reduce the interest rate to 4%. So you can reach out to Matthew in reference to accessing that loan that we have.
Hey, Eric, thank you. You just reminded me, there's also Accion that does small business lending, and they have they receive some funding specifically to help during this COVID and help small businesses. There's also an organization called BBIF, Black Business Initiative Fund, based in Orlando, but they have an office in Miami Gardens. So there are other sources of funding. So just avail yourself of those resources and apply. You have to apply.
Absolutely.
All right, so I want to take a quick moment. Eric actually just brought up the Biz Help Miami, and wanted to just show you the website. This is a website that was in collaboration with Miami-Dade County and also the Beacon Council. They brought together organizations from all across Miami-Dade County that assist businesses with funding assistance. They have SBA approved lenders. So if you click here, you will see all the banks, local banks in Florida that are approved as SBA lenders. So make sure you take advantage of this site because the smaller banks can give you more pointed questions and you probably can get through them more quickly to get this done. So take advantage of this. As you can see, it's quite a few banks that are SBA approved lenders. Here, they have questions with the CARES Act and the Paycheck Protection Program. You can register with Biz Help Miami to get more information. And as you register, based upon what you focus on, they will, as you can see, they will show you, will link you to a provider that can assist you with what you are looking for. So make sure you visit bizhelp.miami, bizhelp.miami, so that you can get access to that information. And as Eric noted, here at the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, myself, Matthew Pigatt, assist businesses with our microloan programs. And after this call, feel free to go to our website, m-dcc.org, and you can register to get technical assistance. So you can get one-on-one assistance with your questions. Any questions that you have not got an answer to, we can provide further resources. I'm sharing the website right now so that you can see. We did have a webinar. I saw there was a question about how do you see last week's webinar recording. You can simply go to our website, m-dcc.org, and you can see the Zoom recording from last week and also the PowerPoint there. You can go into our services and sign up to get technical assistance or inquiries in regards to our, so you can sign up here, link. We are connected with quite a few partners, and this is what I manage there. And also if you need a microloan program, that is available for you. So make sure you take full advantage of the chamber. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. We're bringing on everyone so that you can see and be a part of this. So I think that answers the questions that I have seen so far. So Eric, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Matt, thank you. Once again, I just want to remind folks in reference to job opportunities, go to Congresswoman Wilson's website and any of one of your congresspersons, I would say, and also to Career Source South Florida. They put out every day job opportunities that are out there. Well, we've been about an hour and 15 minutes. I want to thank everybody that has been on. Teri Williams from OneUnited Bank. I know you all, as you say, you are essential. You are working. We thank you. We thank all of the essential workers. As I say, those folks who are feeding us, those folks in the grocery stores, those folks who are out there protecting us, etc. So thank you so much. Also, Leo, once again, thank you and your team for always being here supporting the chamber in our endeavors. And this has been a great opportunity to have Rulon, Washington on to bring information from a mortgage perspective. And Lynn, thank you. I tell you, getting on Zoom can be challenging. Like I said, I just lost, I don't know what happened with my computer. But anyway, thank you all. And thank you all for joining us. The one thing I also want to mention to you, as members of the chamber, we're going to actually start a daily chat. We're calling a members only meetup at 4 o'clock every day, just to bring you information and also so that you can talk to us about concerns and issues that you may have, but also to connect you to other chamber members that you can do business together. So we want to be engaged, want to stay connected to you. As I always say, it's about connecting the dots, keeping everybody informed. So thank you so much again for joining us today. We will be online tomorrow, Zoom at 4 o'clock. Check our web page out, www.m-dcc.org, and find out more information. And we will, as I mentioned, the PayPal, joining in on the PPP, we'll post that information so that you can go there, at least the link, and you can find out more information about that. Once again, thank you. Wish you all a great day. Be safe. Continue to wash your hands, wear your mask, wear your gloves, and let's be kind to one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
And thank you very much. Everyone have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matthew.